I'm going to call this meeting to order. Pledge of Allegiance. I'll lead it.
Do Harriet. Do Harriet. Make Harriet do it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to our guest. Adoption of the agenda.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Staff presentation information, discussion action items. The first item is the 2015-2018 Local Control Accountability Plan. Do I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
Good. Dr. Mannon, or?
We did the presentation and the public hearing at the last meeting, Mr. Lee, so this is for adoption.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, adopt the 2015-2016 budget and approve the use of the 2015-2016 Proposition 30 Education Protection Account entitlement. Motion and second.
So moved.
Second.
That's good. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good. Number 4, approval to award RFQ number 08-06.19.15, supplying and deploying computers and peripheral equipment at district-wide to Sigmanet Incorporated through Western Sales Contracting Alliance, WSCA, bid number B as in boy 27160. Do we have a motion and a second?
So moved.
I have a couple questions, so I get them.
Second.
Are there going to be a presentation?
Yes, there is.
Oh, good.
It's doctor stuff.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. Lee, members of the board. As you know, we've been working on this for a bit of time. This is the first of what will be a number of purchases of technology throughout the next 30 years. Measure T provided for, that was passed by the voters in November, provides for $5 million every 5 years for technology. And our first step this year was to upgrade all of the network infrastructure within the district. That was done not with bond money, and you know, we went through quite a process, and it worked out really well for testing. The Smarter Balance assessment, with the exception of a couple isolated cases, worked very, very well, and so we're now on to the next phase of, or the first phase of what Measure T money will be, and that is computers for all staff, teachers, and administrators. And so we put together a committee. As you can see, we have representatives, teachers, administrators, classified, as well as a couple IT staff, in developing what it is that we want to do. Also, Mr. Wormers, as a member of the board, was also on this committee. And so we met 4 times this past spring and really began our work discussing what is it that we want students to know and be able to do with technology in the next 5 years. We wanted to have this student-centered vision for technology use, and that it's students using technology to enhance their learning and not just technology for technology's sake. And so the committee was collectively in agreement with this, and with the focus being on the classroom and what's happening in the classroom and how our students using technology. And then we identified what are the things that we need in the most immediate future in order to carry out this vision. And so throughout the process, we kept coming back to this of what is the purpose for technology. Number one, we wanted to have more devices in the hands of students. And that's going to be our next phase. Once we get through the upgrade for technology for all the adults, we're looking at additional Chromebooks for students. The committee was in agreement that that's where we need to go right now, that it's not other devices, that we made a tremendous investment district-wide, and we have over 4,000 Chromebooks out there now, and they're working very well. They have keyboards. They're allowing students to not only take the assessment, but to do research and really engage in collaboration via TUSD, which is our learning management system. And so when we think about what are those things that we want students to learn, It's these 21st century skills: creativity, critical thinking, collaboration, and communication. And the Chromebook allows for all of those at a very low cost. In fact, the price is continuing to come down on those. So that's what we'll be bringing back later on in a future meeting once we finish the deployment of what I'm going to be presenting tonight.
That'll happen before the next 5 years. That's just the next step within these first 5 years.
Right. What you'll see is of the 5 million that we're approving a contract tonight for about 2.3 of that, and so it leaves a significant amount of money on the table, still within that first $5 million in Measure T funds for the purchase of additional student devices. And then third, we really wanted to make sure that teachers and staff had access and training for the latest software and hardware, and that really is the proposal tonight. So we talked about a lot of different things as a committee. We discussed laptop versus desktop, printer, no printer, how do we deal with different staff, and really the committee was unanimous from pretty much the initial discussion about this, in that we need to go with a laptop for teachers and administrators with a docking station. Teachers need printers in their own room, and we decided that they all need to have the same one, so we're just going to do this in one fell swoop, as opposed to having multiple printers and people having to install different drivers. So administrators, basically all certificated staff, will get laptops with docking stations. Desktop computers will be provided with large monitors for all of our office staff. They're on those devices hours every day, and that we want to really make sure that they have the best possible device for them. And so we're looking at desktop computers with 22, 23-inch monitors for them. And then again, like I mentioned, additional Chromebooks for student use. We went out and got 5 bids for, or we didn't get 5 bids, 5 bids were returned based on the request for quote that we put out there, and working with purchasing department, and with the specs that we as a committee decided. And we had a day up here in IT where we had a variety of different devices with different sizes and speeds that we looked at. And so the quotes that came back from 5 different vendors, one of which was incomplete because they only wanted to provide the printer and the management software. Another one was incomplete because they wanted us to image all of the devices here. And one of the requirements of the quote was that all of the imaging of the devices takes place somewhere else at this company's location, and then they bring them to us ready to go, because we don't have the staff nor the space in which to get that done.
Question. When you say managing the devices, are the printers being managed by, I mean, there'll be a count of how many, what you're printing on your printer and things like that. Are they being managed as well? Or are they just standalone?
Right now, they're standalone printers. They're networkable, but just for the purposes of deployment and getting things out there when teachers come back, they're just going to be plugged in directly to the U.S.
There's no software that manages them that tells you how many, when your ink's running low and how many.
No. That's not included in this, and it could be later on at some point. Absolutely. Teachers will also have the ability to print, and I think it happens that they can send print jobs to the Konica printers, Ricoh printers, in the main offices. But that's still an underutilized thing right now. We will make sure, and these printers are not for teachers to print out 150 of anything. It's make a copy or two and then go make copies up in the office on our high volume printers. So, and that's no different than what the expectation is now. The high volume printers in the office are much more economical to operate. And so when the quotes came back, we had 3 complete quotes, one of which was from Dell, and 2 of which were from different companies that with HP products. And Based on the initial price, the Dell quote was significantly less. It was in the just over $2 million, and the lowest HP quote was about 2.5 million. And so, so in looking at the details on that and seeing that this company has done work in a number of other districts, our recommendation is that we go with the Dell product. We do want to go with the Dell Latitude 7450, which is a step up from what was quoted. Or there were two quotes within the Dell line. One was the Latitude 5450, which was the equivalent of the HP that we were looking at. But for less than what the HP quote would have been, we can get the next level up with the Dell product, which includes a solid state drive that we think is really going to help over the next 5 years. It's the latest technology, and they're providing that even less than the lower quality product from HP. For the desktops, we're recommending that we go with this Dell Optiplex 920, 400 units of that, and it should say 1,400. That was a typo, 1,406. And all these are estimates. It's plus or minus some based on staffing, and we know we're hiring, and we had a pretty good estimate of how many we need, but written into the quote was that this is initial estimate, and then actual pricing will be dependent on final install. All of the software will be managed via this case device management software. So individual teachers or individual administrators aren't going to have to install things on their local computers. In fact, that none of the devices are coming with optical drives. That was one thing that the committee, again, was unanimous on, that an external optical drive is $30 or $40, and most people don't use CDs or DVDs anymore anyway, and so none of these will have optical drives. But the case device management software is used in Redondo Beach and some other local districts where the software can be managed centrally and then pushed out to the machines. And so all the updates and everything will happen centrally and be pushed out to the laptops or desktops. So when people turn on their computer, it'll update that software.
So it'd be things like Microsoft Office and, you know, or Microsoft Word or Excel spreadsheets, that kind of stuff will all reside in.
Well, it's installed locally on the machine, but it's managed centrally.
Okay, good, okay.
And then the Western States Contracting Alliance, or the WSCA, provides for a maximum cost that schools should pay for these devices, and so we're utilizing that bid process for a total cost on this bid from for $2,372,046.
14 cents.
Now, a lot of questions may come regarding our implementation plan. Our goal is to have every teacher with a laptop on September 8th and 9th when they come back for those first 2 days, and administrators and clerical staff installed during the month of August. And so we'll begin immediately to work with the vendor on a implementation plan. And so part of that will include having we've already got from principals room charts of where classroom teachers want their docking stations and printers installed. So that will happen starting August 1st, where the company will go around and start working with schools that are available to get in there and start installing those docking stations and printers, and then begin rollout of the desktops and laptops to staff that are here in mid-August, and then ultimately providing that support on site on September 8th and 9th. We are asking, we've asked, and we have teachers, and we'll get them trained, 2 teachers from each elementary and middle school, and 4 teachers from each high school that we will bring in sometime in mid to late August, who will facilitate the training on the campuses on September 8th and 9th when teachers come back, and then at that time teachers will receive their laptops.
Question. It's been my experience that many teachers will take the docking station, put it over by the wall on their main desk, because that's where the wire is. And then when they move it, then they'll pull it out of the docking station, move it to the front of the room, hook it up to the docking camera, whatever. But then they're on wireless. Is that gonna be a possibility? Do we have enough, are wireless good enough if a teacher pulls that laptop because it's over in the corner, they need to then bring it to the front of the room?
Well,
Mr. Steffen, for us, it's real easy on that issue, because for the 15 schools we've already completed, the front of the classroom, however that's designated, is where our teacher station is.
Oh,
So-
you've already
so
wired
everything
that.
is, so everything, it's all there.
Okay.
And as we go through the other schools, we have each school designate by classroom, by a large blueprint that we use, what is the front of the classroom, and that's always where we put the teacher station in.
but the docking stations aren't going to be hardwired to the network. The laptops will operate off the wireless network
Oh, okay.
exclusively.
All right.
So,
Exclusively.
I mean, we've put in a robust enough network that it can handle the traffic of another 1,000 devices on there. So the teachers will be using, unless there's some reason not to, the plan is that they'll be using the wireless exclusively for their purpose. We're not intending,
So it's a bunch of people are streaming stuff and all this kind of stuff. We're confident that that's not gonna overload the system.
correct.
Okay?
So, Mrs. Deutsch.
So Dr. Stowe, I just had a question. So they currently have freestanding computers, correct?
Yes.
So they're going to be removed and replaced with these new computers?
Right, that'll
Okay.
be part of the process as we go through, and we're not gonna take them off right away. Teachers still have things on there,
Right.
maybe that they need to get off. We did send out a video of how teachers can upload all of their documents and presentations and anything they use for instructional purposes to their Google account. Every teacher has an unlimited Google Drive account, but that will be part of the process in the fall, is removing the 3,000 devices or so that we think are too old to be on our network, that we don't want on there. And so that'll be a process that we'll work through school by school with teachers to make sure they get everything off and they're comfortable with their new machine before they take the old one away.
So they will be provided the support and the assistance to do that, to transfer it from their computer to their new one?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's the expectation with this quote from the company that's providing the service, as well as the part of the training that we're going to be doing with our teacher leaders, is to make sure that they're the on-site expert after the first couple days of school to be able to provide that kind of support, to make sure that people on their campus know how to get everything off before the computers go away.
I have another question, sorry. So will teachers have the option to gradually transition to their new laptops, or will they have a deadline? How's that going to work for them?
Well, hopefully they're going to like their laptop and they're not going to want to go back to the old dog that they're using. Most of them are very, very old and slow and have issues. The thing that we're going to help them with is getting the documents off of those computers that they then will be able to then just put on their Google Drive account and then access from anywhere.
That should be the goal, that
Right.
everyone will be excited about it.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And so operating systems, Microsoft, all that kind of stuff, so it'll all be very familiar when they turn it on. I'm assuming, right? So there's gonna be nothing outside of the box as
Do
far
we
as,
have the little start button at the bottom left corner?
well, if you upgrade to Windows 8,
Yes,
then
yeah.
that's a
No,
whole
you're gonna have
nother,
Yeah.
but I mean, is it gonna be Windows 8 or Windows 7 or,
I think we're going to put Windows 8 on there.
okay,
We're going to
so
put Windows 8.
there's a button where you can make it look like Windows 7
Oh,
now. I know, they came in and did that for me after I yelled at it. So, okay, well, that's good, that's probably smart. So, okay, well, good. We have a motion, we have a second, we have, okay.
Is the company Sigma, whatever it is, they're aware of our timeline?
Yes.
Okay, so we're looking at the beginning September, every teacher's got one, every office staff person, every principal's got one, they're sitting on a desk waiting for them.
Right, and we'll be meeting with them later this week to begin that implementation plan, to sketch that whole thing out and make sure that everybody's on the same page.
But they know that.
It was all written into the quote of what the expected date of completion needed to be.
Okay.
Mrs. Deutsch.
So just one last question. So these laptops and all this hardware, it's not going to be shipped into a warehouse? They're going to be bringing it and then installing it at each individual school site? Is that how it's going to work?
The actual deployment of that, I'm not sure. I mean, we need to work with the vendor and see what their capability is. But that's what we want. We don't want to have to move it here and then move it out to a school site. And so we're gonna work to try to have things done in a way where it goes to the school sites, already asset tagged, with identified of who's gonna get which computer with, based on the serial number.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, we got a motion, we got a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Okay, next to approval to rescind prior approval of resolutions, it's taking a half hour to read. AS-18-14/15, AS-19-14/15, AS-20-14/15, AS-21-14/15, AS-22-14/15, AS-23-14/15, AS-24-14/15, AS-25/14/15, AS-26-14/15, AS-27-14/15, AS-24-14/15, and AS-29/15/1415, authorizing the execution and delivery of the site leases, subleases, construction services, agreements, and other acts relating to the construction of various sites as designated in the resolution. Motion a second.
Remove.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We have a consent items, we have elementary consent, and we have, that's it. So,
I make a motion we approve all consent agenda.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion to adjourn?
Second,
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
We're done.
You're very welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. This is